They're too hot. Or they're holding their wings
So I was
out.
thinking about getting just a couple.
They don't like it. It's like, get me out.
What if you have just space for you to get away from the light?
Well, that's good. Just, and I believe they need about 2 square feet per chick. And of course, if they get bigger. I use my horse stalls.
So you have 2 types, which you?
I have barred rocks, Plymouth barred rocks, or barred Plymouth rocks, and Dominique. And I have another breed at home, but I'm being greedy with those. They're model Javas, and they're just a lot harder to find, and I'm not on part with those just yet.
A lot of information.
You got the handout, my recommended resources list.
But yes, the books and the websites.
Toby Hemingway's book. Check that out. Gaia's Garden.
And that's why I didn't. And that's what we want.
Put 20 pounds of feed in there, so you don't have to feed them every day.
Okay.
Just ignore me.
And then the field, let's see, let's get this squash.
But as soon as the garden got like high enough, now with lettuces and stuff,
They love lettuce.
So we could share, maybe.
You can grow, you grow lettuce. Not all the feed has to come in bags.
Yeah, that's well. We're probably
they
gonna
love
grow
lettuce.
most of their food like at home. So
Well, this goes into how, and
Okay.
I'm working, my 2 books away is garden chicks.
Okay.
And what I do, I've got a matrix of all the vegetables and the perennials and the annuals, you know, including birdscaping.
Okay.
Certain plants you can plant for your flock. It's
Yeah.
And then when to keep them into the crops, when to let them out of the crops, when to let them harvest, and then just comments on the nutrition and whether they need it.
Okay.
So that's
Okay. We'll have to go. We'll have to get this done. Now, what types of breeds do you?
people ask me that, and I have an eye candy flock, I call them.
Okay.
I really like having the different varieties.
So we can mix. Okay.
Yeah, you can mix and match. The buff Chanticleers I'm really fond of. That's what Oprah Henfrey is.
Okay.
And I have been doing a little bit of breeding that, but I can't say that. Not yet.
Now, like sprouting, does we sprout too?
Yeah,
It's all that.
Yeah, it's about how to sprout.
Okay.
Because man, you get a 50-pound bag a week. You know, it's cheap. Now it's what, $16, $20. But then you sprout those, and that converts all those grains into protein.
Yes.
23%
Yes.
protein. You've got a whole different food.
Yes.
So I sprout for my chickens. And just get some buckets.
Okay.
Kitty litter type buckets.
Yeah.
The holes in the bottom of one, and the other one you put it in.
Okay.
So I always keep sprouts going. Okay. I don't do, oh,
Yeah, we've got our whole. We don't have a dining room table. We just
but then you look at yourself. And here's the garden with chickens.
okay.
Fencing. So
Just fine, it's getting colder, like yesterday. What's up with that? Alright, so I want to do everything I can to keep the energy flowing, keep you warm, and we are going to move outside where it's a lot warmer in just a minute to handle a few birds, but just to kind of keep your brain focused and try and get you thinking about other things other than your body and temperature. Tell me why we're waiting for stragglers to come in. Give me a bullet point of what has been really helpful so far. Just as far as a knowledge piece or content or something about a breed or just a nugget of truth that has been really helpful so far. I saw a hand back there. Speak nice and loud, okay?
The fact that birds are treated almost like monocytos treat seeds.
Okay, all right. So kind of the lights went on for you of the whole industrial side of a hybrid chicken. Good. Ventilation. Yes. Good. Good, good. Yes.
That chickens are here for a purpose and that they're a lot more hardy than we have thought.
Okay. Chickens are here for a purpose and they're a lot more hardier than you thought.
The whole concept of the using the compost and chicken and everything to the whole purpose of compost.
Good. Good, good.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, chickens in the garden, and the whole gardening piece. Great, and Harvey's really as good as anybody of helping to explain that and articulating that and modeling it as well. So, what else? What's been helpful? Yes?
Deep litter.
Okay.
And the cover crops.
Good. Good, good. Deep litter and the cover crops. Excellent.
The idea of the personalities of the chickens.
All right. Yeah, different personalities of chickens. Which one do you think you're most attracted to?
It's hard to say. I think the one that's kind of the mid-grade enthusiasm, not the one that comes running out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Good, good. All right. What else? What else has been helpful so far? Yes?
The importance of genetics.
Okay, the importance of genetics. Good. I'm glad that light went on. Excellent. All right. A few others.
If you smell manure, smell ammonia, smell mismanagement.
That's right. Yeah, that's awesome. Harvey must talk about that while I was off chasing that chicken around or something. But good. That's very, very true. Whether you have a flock of 5 or a flock of 500, if you can smell ammonia, then that is a major respiratory issue for your birds. That's huge in the poultry industry. And the guy that mentored me in the commercial industry said, Jim, you have those glasses on. When you walk into that house, if your glasses immediately fog up, he talks about just the humidity in that house. And I love what Harvey kept saying, that chickens will tell you a lot. My mother-in-law, who's not spent much time around birds until Melissa and I got married, and now we live in Old Fort, and we have some brown African geese, and she's like, Jim, can I feed them this? Jim, can I feed them that? I'm like, throw it out there. They'll tell you whether they like it or not. All right? So that was really good what Harvey said. Back there.
Something that Harvey mentions more, I think, in his book than he had the opportunity to hear, where he talks about raising food for the chickens. He grows, for example, he uses hickory cane corn, where he actually grinds his own. He doesn't go into a lot of detail about that, but for people who want to do that, I mean, because he was talking about these beautiful mixes that he makes for his birds, if you want to get away from the bagged stuff, Gene Logston just revised his small-scale grain raising, and I mean it's small-scale. We're not talking big farm scale. For people who have just a little bit of space and want to raise grain small-scale, that's a great resource for people who want to help, close that loop and not have to always go to an outside sustainable source.
Good.
Small-scale grain raising by Gene Logston. It was just revised.
You missed that time too, didn't you? She just said it 3 times, and you're in the front row, and you're not. Okay. So, small-scale grain raising by
Gene Logston.
Gene Logston. Logston.
The contrary farmer.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
Okay, any other nuggets that you've been learning here? Harvey, they're in here bragging on you, all the things they're learning about composting and everything else. Good, well, I want to, right after I announced Cynthia brought those chicks, another little group of baby chicks showed up. Some Delawares, some white Chanticleers, that's a Canadian breed, and the buff Chanticleers. And and about 100 of them you got there? Yeah. So, anyways, but that little card that you just received, I've been kind of talking about the Carolina Heritage Poultry Coalition, and I wanted to let Gary Sykes, who's the president of the coalition, just share a little bit of vision with you. And he and I met at a workshop like this about 1.5 years ago. You were at that one too, Winston-Salem. A bunch of crazy things started at that whole gathering, I suppose. But I want him to just tell you a little bit of his vision for the heritage breeds and what's happening in the coalition. So this is Gary Sykes.
Great to see you all. It's great to see this number of people here. This is a great crowd and a lot of excitement. I can already feel it. And I want to say just a little bit about the Carolina Heritage Poultry Coalition. We have since formed. We are becoming more and more official each time we meet. So we've got a lot to do. But I am very excited. We're excited about the potential of heritage poultry here in North Carolina, especially shelves, I think, is on the marketing side, is we're working on that to find out, we got to be able to sell these birds if we're going to grow them. So finding shelves really open. A lot of them understand what a heritage bird is and the difference between it and other birds and the difference in flavor, which they greatly appreciate. So we've got on the marketing side coming up, and Tuesday will be at the Flavor of Carolina event in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Chef Poe. Did you say anything about Chef Poe coming out from Kansas? We'll be doing some tasting events next weekend. So we're real excited about that. We're going to have a lot better feel after that how things are going to go, I think. Jim just spoke. Did you talk about speaking to the event in Winston-Salem? The American Culinary Federation Southeast Regional meeting was in Winston-Salem a week ago.
Yeah.
And Jim spoke to several chefs there. So we're just real excited on the marketing side right now. Feedback we're getting so far, and we're looking to grow this. What I'm hoping to be able to do, I'd like to get us to be a sustainable group where what I envision is having a local sustainable bird in North Carolina or different breeds of birds in North Carolina that you can buy locally, you can buy the chicks locally, you can grow. We have a processing plant. We know about what it would take now to have our own processing plant, have our own feed mill, and we know how many birds that'll take, and it's not as many as you might think. So that's the vision that I have that I'd like to see us get to, that we're doing all these things in-house, and we're kind of copying the commercial guys a little bit with vertical integration. So make it more efficient, make it more cost efficient, because that's the biggest stumbling block right now is the price. Does anybody have any questions?
You guys getting any kind of feedback or any kind of resistance from some of these big corporations so far, or you intend that you will eventually?
Well, you already are, you're a backyard fancier, you're already a bad guy as far as the commercial industry is concerned. You're the reason for all the diseases, you're the reason for avian influenza, you're the reason for E. coli, you're the reason for this and you're the reason for that. So they're already trying to knock you out, so we don't care.
We're really not a big player right now. So as long as we're running under the radar, I think we're fine, but I anticipate, I feel like that's probably going to
Yeah, and I understand, we also are very committed to the laws of North Carolina. This state is very, very empowering of you small farmers. You can process, 20,000 birds in this state on your farm without being USDA certified. That's a lot of chickens, a lot of birds, all right? So we're very connected to NCDA, the North Carolina Department of Ag. So it's not like we're like sneaking around. Our goal, I'm not ashamed to say, we're doing everything we can to replace the market and get the industrial chicken and turkey out of here and put a dent. And it probably won't happen in my lifetime. Where's Carson? Carson, that guy right there in the red sweatshirt. That's Gary's son, and we want to get it all turned around before he's gone. Yeah.
Question about if all of us go into small backyard production or larger, how's the Safe Food Act going to affect that? I know that act floating around Congress is trying to shut down all the small farmers. Is it going to affect this whole side of it?
That is why it's so important to talk with your legislators. How many of you know who your legislator is to Washington? Okay? Raleigh and Washington, and absolutely, you need to let them know. It doesn't take but a few people. That's the good thing about us. We're big in numbers, or we're growing in numbers, and it doesn't take but a few people to make a difference there. And so all I can say, when you see something come out that says, hey, you need to contact your legislator about this is what's going on in Washington right now, you need to follow that, and you need to follow up on it and do that, because that makes a big impact. I was fortunate enough to host Larry Kissel, who was my representative in my area, District 8, and about 3 months ago, had him to the farm, and this was right after the farm bill, before where they were trying to, the super committee that was going to decide everything and all that fell apart, well then that put the farm bill back on the table as far as having, that looks a lot more favorable at this point now. And so we were able to, I think, have a big impact on his thinking about.
Also, know that the Carolina Farm Stewardship Association, CFSA, is fighting on your behalf.
Yes.
And Roland McReynolds, he is our hero. When they're actually a bunch going to be up dealing with some of this farm bill. One of our guys in our coalition, Bo Sellers, he's from Concord. There's a group going up, and they're doing some stuff this next week dealing with that farm bill. So we need to keep all of our voices nice and loud. So I do want to mention, just for the sake of time, Gary's going to be here the rest of the day. He's got chicks. He has chicks available that you can take as well. He has one of our certified flocks in our coalition, and so it's good stock. And so I just wanted to share with you him as a resource, and he'll be here the rest of the day. So thank you, Gary. Yeah, you can give my hand. Okay, in your notes, I want to move to, I'm going to give you some tidbits of information before we go out and handle the birds. All right? And I'll need you to help me handle birds, and Gary, and I'll need a few handlers. Maybe Harvey and Pat can help me too. So, one of the things that, what does the title say there? The basics, right here. Selecting and culling your flock for production. All right? Now, I do another workshop that takes 8 hours to go through all that. So we're going to kind of do the condensed version. So I'm going to give you a couple of bullet points about production. Now, whether you have a flock of 5 birds or a flock of 500, okay, I can teach you some principles. You can learn some principles that you can go out in your backyard and pick up every hen and determine whether or not she's laying eggs or not laying eggs. You can figure out who's in retirement, all right? Some of you have these flocks of like 12, 15 hens, and you're like, there's only 6 hens. I'm pretty sure I only have 6 hens, and the other 6 or 8 have retired, and I need to figure out who they are, okay? Now, I know there's others of you who have names, and they're around for the duration, and they have birth certificates and all that stuff. But you can assess your flock, figure out who's laying and who's not laying. Hopefully, okay, hopefully when you handle a bird today, and I share some things with you while we're out there with bird in hand, you will never ever see a chicken the same again, in a good sense, okay?